I crowdsourced with the internet. I asked them, where should I move next? In a year from now, where I should move, based on this criteria. And here are the responses I got. Not only did over 22,000 people see that video, but I had over 800 comments and counting. And we have some, let's say, 7 cities that topped the list, but one was top, way ahead of the rest. A second that was not terribly far behind, and then I'm going to share that with you in this video. Maybe this helps you. I would love your feedback. If you want to guess right now in the comments what the top city was before I reveal it, do it now so that you can say you were the first to guess. The criteria I gave when I made this video was the weather had to be better than New York City. It had to be more affordable than New York City. It had to have a good job market, had to have proximity to nature, it had to be a decent size so I didn't feel too small and isolated. It had to have proximity to an airport. It had to be blue leaning in politics because I need to be able to find my people. It has to have a decent art, food, and music scene so that I feel like I have a life. And I didn't say this in the video, I'm neglected to, but I would like some diversity still because I'd be coming from New York City. All right, drum roll please. The winning city was Portland. It won 50 votes out of, I forget how many people voted, at least 400 people voted. Actually, maybe a lot more than that. The next most popular or recommended city was Seattle, which these two cities are top of my list, but Seattle is number one. And so I'm really looking at these cities. I've made a chart, I'll share it. I'm literally considering these cities. I'm being open-minded that some of these places I've never thought of before could be a place I'd be interested in. So third most recommended place was Denver, Colorado. And I'm gonna check it out. Boulder is on the list too, but it's further down. People did complain that Denver is expanding rapidly and maybe too rapidly and getting too expensive and overpopulated, but I'll check it out. It's got to be better than New York as far as prices and weather, and I think it's the kind of snow you like instead of it being in the way. The fourth most recommended city on the list was San Diego. I love San Diego, but it's not, I had put affordable on the list. San Diego's not affordable. I mean, I know San Diego's kind of big and there's suburbs, but I do feel a little bit like I'm going backwards if I go to California where I'm from, so we're gonna see about that. But San Diego is amazing on all fronts. The fifth city on the list was Santa Fe, New Mexico, which I love. I'm scared it's a little small and quiet, and I will be going there when I turn around 51, and I will probably be entering the dating pool, so I kind of want a decent dating pool. All right, sixth on the list was Asheville, North Carolina. It sounds charming as heck, and I will check it out. I do love North Carolina. My family's from there, my dad was there, my grandmother was there, I have cousins and an aunt in North Carolina. So I'll definitely check it out, Asheville. And it was, let's say 12 votes out of all the votes. So, and then we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th on the list. So this is like the tier 1 recommended places. Tier 1 most recommended places. The 7th was Chicago. I'm not doing Chicago. I feel like it's sort of adjacent move to New York as opposed to like a whole new thing. So I'm not doing Chicago, but it's good to know. And just so you know, if you're the kind of person that questions voting on these sort of social media posts, like people ask real questions and would love real answers. I'm so grateful that people responded to my request for information. So that's what I'd say the top tier 1 cities recommended based on my criteria. Next tier 2, were 9 to 8 votes. So like if Portland was number 1 at 50 votes, these all had 9 or 8 votes. You're gonna be very surprised. The top of this list is Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon came up a bunch of times. It's such a specific city for me. I've spent a lot of time in Oregon, but I haven't been to Bend in literally a lifetime, so I'll check it out. Next in line has been on my list to visit because I have a feeling I'm gonna find it adorable as heck, which is Savannah, Georgia. The next also, so these are all tied now. So we've got Bend, Savannah, and the next is Albuquerque, Minneapolis, and Boulder. These are all tied. They all have the same amount of votes. So I call them the tier 2 cities worth checking out, which I will. And then the tier 3, so they are more like 5 and 4 votes, are Charlotte, Tucson, and like the coastal region in Northern California. All right, so now we've got tier 4. Tier 4, we're all tied for tier 4 place, which is Alexandria, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, San Luis Obispo, California, Pittsburgh, Ohio, and Cleveland, Ohio. All right, tier 5. These all tied and got the exact same amount of votes as well. So we've got Reno, Detroit, St. Pete, Florida, Charleston, North Carolina, Monterey, California, Cincinnati, Ohio, Phoenix, Arizona, and Providence, Rhode Island. I will be checking most of these out. I don't think I could do Reno. I went to Reno a lot growing up, and I mean, people were raving about it, but I don't know if I could do it. All right, the last tier were the last ones voted on. They really only had a mention once each, but I think it's worth looking into them because they've been on my mind. I have been curious about them for sure. So we're looking at the Twin Cities, Milwaukee, Traverse City, Michigan, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, Burlington, Vermont, St. Paul, Minnesota, Ithaca, New York, which I know is beautiful, and Arlington, Virginia. Oh, I just dropped something. So these are the last, they only have one mention each, but I do think that they are honorable mention and worth looking into. So if you're at the place where you're ready for change, you're ready for thinking about living somewhere else, you have no idea where to start, I would suggest using this list if your criteria is the same, or make a list of criteria and source the internet, meaning ask people to tell you, because sometimes people are going to tell you things you didn't think of before and you didn't know you should have thought of. And if this is at all remotely helpful, I'll just give you a little bit more info I gleaned from this experiment, is that the Pacific Northwest was recommended as a region in general a ton, like 15 plus times. When you were talking about Portland separately was mentioned 50, voted for 50 times. The Pacific Northwest was 15 plus, not including those Portland votes, for example. And Whidbey Island came up a bunch, which I'm 1,000% looking to, which I think is very near Seattle or part of Seattle. And I love Seattle. Seattle's top of my list. I'm just nervous about the weather, but otherwise and now everybody's saying how expensive it is too. But the other thing is somebody mentioned things like do New Orleans in the winter and do like Maine, Portsmouth or Portland, Maine in the summer. And I kind of love this idea, but then that means I have to be fully able to work and anywhere that I go. But I love this sort of pick 2 places and do 2 places thing. So that is definitely, I think, goals here. So follow along while I do more research. I'll share everything I learn, and I'll be visiting the cities and sharing my tours. Like, follow, share with anybody you think might be of interest. I'm really excited for what's next.